Topping our news at 5:30, prosecutors have called court-ordered guardianship a superhighway that you can't exit from. And that's exactly what one Macomb County veteran says happened to him. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Glenda Lewis.
I'm Simon Shaquette. Gerald Harton says he survived the horrors of the Vietnam War, only to now feel like he's been captured by the enemy decades later. Only this time, he says the enemy is Michigan's guardianship system. 7 investigator Heather Catallo is raising the voice of this combat veteran who's asking for help.
I got to get out of here.
In August, Gerald Harton says he was so frustrated about being under guardianship, he called the police on his own family.
Madison Heights 911, where's the emergency?
Well, it's kind of emergency. The police have been here before. I can't take no more.
This 77-year-old Army veteran survived one of the most brutal battles in Vietnam. Now, decades later, Jerry says he feels like he's a prisoner of the probate court system.
This is not right. This is illegally keeping me. Might as well go to jail. At least I got more people to talk to. Get 3 squares there. You know, they'll give you your medicine. I've been in jail for a year. That's the way I feel.
Jerry's journey into guardianship started last November after he had back surgery and other health complications. His wife, Mary, had power of attorney to make Jerry's medical decisions, but she was hospitalized at the same time, so she could not care for him.
I was in the hospital, and my boy stepped up to be my overseer of the medicine.
So Jerry's son became his guardian, and when a judge approved that petition for guardianship, Jerry was declared legally incapacitated.
The court says I'm not allowed to go to the bank, take any money out, or do anything.
If a judge appoints a guardian and conservator for you, you lose your civil rights, and that means you cannot make your own medical or financial decisions. Jerry says his son did a good job of taking care of him at his home in Madison Heights after his surgery. But as Jerry and his wife both got better, Jerry says he started asking to go back to his own home in Harrison Township.
I was a millwright by trade, worked 7 days a week for 31 years, and I had everything paid for. My house, swimming pool in the back, a jacuzzi. I was made for my retirement. I'm not allowed to go home.
And then things got messy.
It's just been a nightmare.
Jerry's wife tried fighting the guardianship. His son hired a lawyer, and there are allegations Jerry's wife ignored court orders and refused to pay for Jerry's care. So the judge put Macomb County professional guardian George Heitmanis in charge of Jerry's life. Jerry says he was furious Heitmanis kept him at his son's house, even though police records show that the family started feuding so much, officers were called to the home repeatedly last summer.
911 emergency.
My father-in-law has vascular dementia, and he's trying to escape right now.
911 emergency.
He just escaped our house, and he's refusing to come in.
And I'm kidnapped. I am really kidnapped.
Through their attorney, Jerry's son's family declined to speak to the 7 investigators, but police records show they alleged that Jerry was often the aggressor. According to court records, the allegation that Jerry has dementia has been used to justify the need for guardianship. The doctor's note used to start the court proceedings last fall says he's suffering from likely underlying vascular dementia. A report later ordered by the court that was conducted by a different professional guardian states Jerry's, quote, need for a guardian and conservator has been clearly noted by 4 different evaluators. For at least 2 of those evaluations, court records show Jerry was on opioid painkillers, and he alleges those were the cause of his confusion at the time, not dementia.
Do you think you are mentally deficient?
No, just no. I remember everything.
Whether he's been talking to the 7 investigators or the police.
Do you remember the last time we talked?
Oh, I sure do. I don't have dementia.
Jerry consistently insists he is not mentally incapacitated, and he says to anyone who will listen that he just wants to go home.
It is a real bad situation. Don't want to be there.
I mean, I think he's lucid. Well, he probably has dementia. I don't think he does. I'm serious.
In police body cam footage obtained by the 7 investigators, as officers move Jerry to the hospital, you can see he remembers the officer who's a fellow veteran from past police runs to the house.
You're the Army guy.
Yeah.
After that exchange with police in August, Jerry was evaluated by more neurologists at the hospital, and doctors regularly noted in his records that he was alert and oriented to person, place, and time. Doctors' notes indicate there had not been an outpatient workup for dementia. A more recent note from his regular doctor at the VA says, quote, Mr. Harton is competent and able to make his own decisions, and that Jerry understands the consequences of his actions.
Everybody that I know would say that I'm not crazy.
Jerry's guardian eventually transferred him from the hospital to a group home, which he says he's not happy about. And other than one hearing on Zoom in July, Jerry says he has not been allowed to attend his own court hearings.
They always kept me away from court deals. And that's what's made me mad. I said, why do I can't see the judge?
Jerry's written 2 letters to Macomb County Judge Sandra Harrison asking to be heard in court, and his fellow veterans have filled the courtroom to support him, even though he has yet to be able to attend. Instead, his guardian speaks for him.
Mr. Harton has significant neurological issues.
It's not up to their guardian, it's not up to their loved ones, it's not even up to their doctors. Only that person gets to make that call.
Michigan Elder Justice Initiative attorney Nicole Shannon says someone who's under guardianship has the right to attend key hearings, and she's helped write new legislation to reinforce that right for anyone facing guardianship.
This is not just a legal technicality. This is a very substantive, important right that folks need to exercise. And if somebody is prohibited from attending their own hearing, it can have devastating consequences.
I don't want to be locked up like this. I don't deserve to be locked up. I am really almost crying out for desperation. I want to go home.
Yesterday, I reached out to both Jerry's professional guardian and his court-appointed lawyer, and this morning, a new hearing just appeared on the court docket for a petition to terminate the guardianship. His guardian told me the court wants Jerry to go home as long as it can be made safe. We'll let you know what the judge decides. As for being allowed to attend court hearings, that's an issue that's part of the guardianship reform legislation that's now going to be discussed in the Michigan Senate tomorrow. I'm Heather Catallo, 7 News Detroit.
All right, Heather, thank you.
Credit to Heather for continuing to highlight these issues, too.
Yeah, and on the heels of Veterans Day, it's just good to give them a voice and then make your determination.
100%.
But they should be heard.